In the story creation ecosystem, worlds are created by two separate, yet equally important groups. The world builders, who envision the world and its intricacies, and the storytellers, who bring their world to life. This is their podcast. Writing The Final Frontier. These are the short stories of the Bibliorbis podcast. Its several-hour mission: to create strange new worlds, to build new characters and new civilizations, to boldly go where no world builder has gone before.
Does anyone have like a world that they're familiar enough and have a setting which isn't too close to the story that they want to tell, that we can like go at it? Because I know my story would have places to do that, but
I can very easily do that with my particular story.
yeah, then
let's get started.
Yeah.
I'll bring up the Google form for myself so that I don't have to redescribe it, because that would just kind of be annoying. So give me 30 seconds to bring it up.
All right. Time's burning. Wait, time's burning? No, hold on. Time's wasting. That's what it is. Sorry. I need to go in for a checkup. I'm pretty sure I have a tumor of some sort. That was a joke. It's okay. You can laugh.
I mean, as a sciencey guy, tumor just means it could be anything to me.
Sorry, brain tumor. Brain tumor.
Now that we're recording, we should just start talking about all these personal medical issues we all have, you know.
Because it's obviously the goal of the session.
That is exactly the goal of the session. Just talk about.
Yes, we're not writing stories. We're talking about our mental issues.
Yeah, and how much.
Well, I can't share my issues due to HIPAA regulations.
Oh, okay.
That was another bad joke.
I'm sending.
Guys, this isn't the Democratic National Convention. We don't talk about our mental issues here.
Mentally.
So this is a bad time to tell you that I've come down with. Is this a bad time to tell you I've come down with a case of the Biden? Because I can't remember what I'm saying half the time.
Okay, I have sent the description of my world in the text channel. So,
Right.
Ager Somniorum, or the Land of Dreams, is a place that every person's mind travels to in their sleep. And so after that, we just have the setting of the actual story. Is Ashara, a woman who scorns imagination, becomes trapped in Ager Somniorum, unable to escape unless she embraces that which she detests. That's irrelevant to what we're doing now. So that second part's kind of irrelevant because
that's your story. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the novel. That's the novel that I plan to write from it. So the concept is that Ager Somniorum is a place that has always existed. So it's a place that people's dreams exist in, and you can actually travel between dreams in that place.
So it's like a multiverse.
It's like a multiverse, yeah. Multiverse of people's minds.
When you say like travel through dreams, do you mean like other people's dreams? You can
other people's dreams, yeah. You can actually step into other people's dreams if they're sleeping and dreaming.
Important questions. Do these dreams continue after you wake up, or do they just disappear then? Because that would
they disappear. They fracture and disappear. And so okay. if you are in someone else's dream as they wake up, you actually see glimpses of the real world where that person is sleeping as the dream starts to break down.
Now, are these people from? Are these people from our world or from some other world?
They're from our world.
Okay.
Oh, well, like more specifically, their world is exactly like ours.
Yeah, their world is identical to our world.
Yeah.
If you're in someone else's dream and he wakes up, okay, so are you like staying in this like broken place? I don't think.
No, you fall back into Ager Somniorum. So you know that kind of weird falling sensation you sometimes get before you wake up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that weird falling sensation. So I described that as being the feeling you get when you fall out of a dream and back into Ager Somniorum.
Okay, but this Ager Somniorum is like the hub for the dreams.
It's the space between dreams, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So my next question is there continuity between dreams when you go to sleep, you wake up and sleep again?
Only if your imagination permits it.
Okay, well, I will have some sick continuity then.
I mean, doesn't that kind of go to the theory of like last Thursdayism or something like that? That you can't really tell if like the whole world just started yesterday. Everything we know up to that point is like
It's
like a
all a figment of our
simulation.
imagination, really.
Yeah,
It could be. It's just memories.
yeah, exactly. So
We could be in a simulation right now.
maybe I'm just splitting hairs with that. Sorry, I'm
There's
throwing
actually
us.
like 4 and 5 chances of us being in a simulation right now.
So what I have I've written 3 chapters of the novel, 3.5. So I do actually have a description of what the Ager Somniorum, the space between the dreams, actually looks like.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, let me find it on the page.
And like, if you have a lucid dream, does it affect like everything in this magical?
If you have a lucid dream, then my concept of that would be that the dream would be more ordered. So kind of you can control things better than you would otherwise, because you know it's a dream, so you can control things a little better because it's a lucid dream.
And I mean, it would only just stay within that dream, so it wouldn't affect the Ager Somniorum, really.
It wouldn't affect Ager Somniorum.
Yeah.
It's not the Ager Somniorum, it's just Ager Somniorum.
Okay.
So, when people wake up, are they aware that they've just come from someone else's dream or from Ager's Somnorium?
Sometimes. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So the main character in the novel itself is only aware of Ager Somniorum because she's in a coma after a car crash.
Oof.
Big yikes.
It's not a common fact that this place exists, right?
It's not a commonly known fact, no.
Uh-huh.
People are not aware of it.
Are there any people in the waking world that have spoken to other people about Ager Somnorium?
I haven't thought about that.
Maybe have a Ager Somnorium Anonymous group or something.
What, ASA? Ager Somniorum Anonymous.
Hi, my name is Cordain, and I'm a sleeping addict. Hi, Cordain.
Are there inhabitants of Ager Somniorum, like creatures,
Yes.
or is it? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now we're getting
Everyone
just
who has died is
Ooh.
in Ager Somniorum. Every person who has died exists in Ager Somniorum.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Can you get hurt if you're already dead in Ager Somnorium?
Yes, but then you'll just heal at a typical rate.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's like I can like chop your head off, and if someone get your head body back together, you can regenerate.
You just keep
slowly.
it.
Yeah.
Keep it
You
off.
can come back.
Hey, bro, what? Hey, see my hand over there? You want to grab that for me?
Can you give me a hand with that?
Ooh, ouch.
Okay.
Does the
You know
effects
how
of
to do it.
aging?
Although the
Yes.
living area of the Ager Somniorum and the dead area of the Ager Somniorum are technically distinct from each other. So they're kind of opposite to each other, but you kind of have to fall through the floor and kind of stand on the opposite side to be in the place where all the dead people are. The place where the living people's dreams are is on the top of that floor.
So it's like the back rooms of like just sleeping.
In a sense, yeah.
Is there any like source of conflict in Ager Somniorum? Like, do these creatures or inhabitants have to like gather some resource or stuff like that?
The conflict in the story is intended to be primarily the internal conflicts of the characters themselves.
The conflict with all the dead people is that they're bored out of their mind, because this is not what they expected and not what they learned in Bible study.
Well, in the dead people in Ager Somniorum, they do each have their own personal dreams.
Oh.
So
Here is a question, okay? Let's say like there was a war, okay, and 2 soldiers from each side died, and they see each other in Eager Somniorum. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. I don't have
Just
the
say the land of dreams. The land of dreams.
Land of Dreams. Okay, they meet each other. Can you like make a story out of that? Like they can't really attack each other anymore. They don't have like this. They can't go back to the country, right?
Hmm.
Well, no, they can't.
They're
'Cause
No, they're very dead.
So
they
All
are
the way
very
dead.
I think that could be an interesting.
That could be an
Yeah.
interesting short story to build the lore, yeah. So anyway, the actual description of Ager Somniorum. So it's very, very abstract. The floor was ever-changing yet motionless, transparent yet opaque, opalescent yet colorless, smooth yet mountainous. And floating above that floor were crystals. No crystal was alike. They were all different shapes and different sizes. Some moved quickly, some slowly, some erratically, and some not at all. Bridges or beams of light spanned between many, all different colors, stretching, bending, and breaking in what seemed like the most intricate pattern as the crystals drifted over that contrary floor. She finally noticed the insides of the crystals. Images flashed inside each and every one. Perhaps this was where she'd find her explanation. She walked closer to one of the slower moving crystals and peered through its many faces. Inside, a giant fox-like creature covered in a blue collared shirt chased a tiny green tiger in a dunce hat around a racetrack next to a children's playground. She immediately moved on. And then it kind of goes into more character building stuff, and it mentions another couple of the dreams as well. The dreams you can see inside the crystals.
So is the short story going to be about Ashara in the world of dreams?
No, because that's
Okay.
what the main
That's the
novel is
novel.
about.
Yeah.
That's the novel. So we
Yeah,
need to do short stories.
we should try to make
we
something
take
that
what
doesn't
we-
interfere with that, I would say.
Yeah, so I was thinking something that happened earlier on in history. So create some character in some other point in history.
What about
No.
Caesar and Brutus meeting there?
Caesar and
That
Brutus. Oh,
I imagine that would be like Han Solo and Lando Calrissian meeting again.
You think so?
Well, I mean, they're dead, so I mean, maybe they'd like kill each other again, but or attempt to kill one another.
If they somehow ended up in the same dream at the same time, they could technically create anything and just start throwing it at each other. Just create a giant anvil and just drop it on the other guy's head.
Oh,
You could have a story. You could have a story about a woman who died in Ukraine in the 1930s famines, go into the world of dreams, and she still can't find any food.
Well, that would be really
That is her
depressing.
personal. That's her personal nightmare. So she's going through other people's dreams, just trying to find something to eat.
That's dark.
I mean, we can make a dark short story.
I mean, we can, yeah.
And what you could do is, when you have the climax for the story with all this stuff going on, it could be something that Ashara observes afar off. That's just like a footnote in her mind, but to someone else, this is like the biggest thing in their World of Dreams life. Just as sort of a half humorous, half this is trivial to me, but a big deal to someone else. This is the World of Dreams. This is how things work. Something like that. I don't know. That's just an idea I'm throwing out there.
That could make sense for the world building, yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna share one of my screens. So I have a whiteboard. So we've got a whiteboard here, so I can brainstorm some of these ideas. So we're thinking of something historical. Something historical. So just in some other point of history.
One interjection that I want to throw in really quick. Just because it has to be historical doesn't mean that the character has to be dead in the short story.
No, the character doesn't have to be dead. No,
Yeah.
the character.
Oh,
the
I
character.
forgot
It could
about
take place.
Yeah.
It could take place in ancient Rome with contemporary ancient Romans.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
could take place with a Ukrainian woman, and she's still alive
Yeah.
and starving. And then she goes into the world of dreams, and that's why the panic is such a real thing. Is because it's still in her. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how much you want to get into the connection between the biological and the psychological while you're sleeping, but I mean, she's hungry while she's sleeping, and in the world of dreams. Like, I don't know if you've ever like had weird dreams because it was too cold while you were sleeping, or too hot while you were sleeping. That's definitely happened to me. So you could also do something like that, where some sort of condition in the real world that's also impacting the dream.
So yeah, real world parallels. That could be really interesting. Yeah, real world parallels. That's something that I actually considered, well, actually, that I intend to do with my with the novel of it, based on a short story that I wrote in the past. So a short story that I wrote in the past is actually going to make up one chapter of the book, edited though, because obviously I want to improve it. But it's going to make up one part of it because it was a horror short story.
Mm-hmm.
It was a horror short story, and it was kind of inside a dream. And so what happens is, as time goes on, as her state is decaying in her coma, the dreams are getting progressively more and more nightmarish.
Yeah, that would make kind of sense. Like the whole setting, I would say, kind of lends it to be put into that direction. Because like we all can have good dreams and such, but it's usually the nightmares that we can remember for much longer and more vividly.
So for the
That's
short
true.
stories, maybe a focus on nightmares then.
Well, and you can have it so that at the very beginning, at the start of the story, they're not as aware of the fact that they're in the world of a dream. So as the dream gets more horrific, they become more aware of the fact that Ager Somniorum is an actual place as it gets more horrific, because as the dreams get more horrific, she remembers them better and becomes more aware. So as you go through the story, it's not just a character building, but a character becoming more aware of the fact that this is an actual thing that's happening, and this isn't just me dreaming.
That's a really good idea, actually, for the novel. Yeah,
One
and maybe for the short story as well.
one
Oh,
thing.
you can also do. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Do we want to go with the 1930s Ukraine setting? Because if we do, I think I have an idea of how we can develop the short story, but I don't want to like start going down that road if we still have like more general things to discuss.
What if we did this? What if you write that down? We'll spitball a few more ideas, and then we can pick one and go from there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna write a bit in the voice chat then.
All right,
and you
sounds
can
good.
like do some more brainstorming in the meantime.
So concepts, we have the 1930s.
Unfaithful non-communist. Yes.
Ukrainian woman, and then just in brackets, famine. Another one we said was ancient Rome. So I would think that one.
As well.
I didn't catch that. That was very staticky.
The Black Plague. You could always do that one as well.
You can do that one.
Oh, yeah.
You can do for ancient Rome. As things get worse and worse in the nightmare, it's due to the lead consumption in the water.
Could be.
No?
It
Okay.
sounds terrible, but
Of course, that would
yeah.
have to be for like a longer book, because I mean, lead poisoning with pipes takes a long time.
Yeah, takes a long time. So we've got the Black Plague. That's Witchback Black Plague, though. So we could have Mongolia. We could have the Black Plague in Mongolia or China, or we could have the European one.
I think the European one is something we're most of us are likely more familiar with.
What if it was set in Kassa?
Where's that?
Kassa was the place that the Mongols raided. They threw their dead bodies over just to scare the locals of the city of Kassa. And
where's Kassa located?
The northern beaches of the Black Sea, I think.
Oh, gross.
Okay.
Not the Black Sea gross.
I
but
have
like
like
the
a general. I wrote the general outline for the 1930s short story, like where we could go there potentially.
Let me see.
I mean, it's in really broad strokes, but just to have a better general idea about it.
She finds out she can access other people's dreams. She tries to influence the dreams of a political commissar to encourage him to distribute more food, ultimately scaring him.
Oof. That's awesome, though.
That's the grammar kind of dies in the last sentence there, but
Yeah.
okay. So ultimately scaring him into bringing the inhabitants of the labor camp more food. Is that what you're saying?
No. Wait. What did I?
Wait, from
That's
what I
the
understand, it's
Oh.
he brings the inhabitants to the labor camp because he's scared of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it backfires. Ouch.
Yeah, it backfires.
Okay. So
Well,
backfire.
the more pain the character is in, the more we feel for them.
I think maybe we can try the mind of like someone is in a cult, yes.
Oh, a cult, yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like
I got it
not only does his fears manifest in this dream world, but also like the people who try to manipulate him can enter it and like actually
yeah.
influence it.
And there are other people in the cult that know about Ager Somniorum, and so they like find their people in their cult in the dream world to try and keep them in the cult. Whereas the main character is like consciously he goes, oh yeah, this cult is not a cult. We're totally cool. This is how it is. But like subconsciously he has some serious doubts. So the doubts reveal themselves in a symbolic way that's not obvious in the dream world. And there are people from the cult that are constantly trying to find his dream to like make sure him and others trying to make sure that hey, we got to find these doubts and kind of cover them up or convince them there's something else to like keep the gaslighting going, taking advantage of the dream world to enforce their cult.
I think I have a good idea for the name of this cult. So Lex Deorum.
Why?
Lex Deorum. That's Latin for the law of the gods. So they go into a place where they can control anything, and so it's kind of in that place. It is their law. Their law is the only thing that is true, and so they consider themselves gods in that instance.
And they would have, and so long as they can lucid dream, they would have the ability to actually be gods in that dream world.
Yeah, so that's Latin for the law of the gods.
Well, and that would also go into, because oftentimes when you have like a cultish leader, they have something going for them. Either they're very charismatic, they're very very intelligent in one form or another, and so you could have your cult leader. The reason why he's the cult leader is because he's the one that can most clearly and most lucidly dream, and so he's almost like, forgive the analogy, but he's almost like the host server in the dream world. All the other cultees go to because he's the one that can control the dream the most.
I have another like interesting idea with this like changing other people's dreams. Maybe it can be like a interesting, like someone goes to a therapist because he's like having, I don't know, depression or like suicidal thoughts.
And the therapist specifically goes into his dreams?
And yes, and he literally fighting his doubts, like in more, like the symbolism is real. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not very good at talking. Sorry.
No, you can't. You gave us a good idea already. So
A less depressing idea.
Yeah, that's less depressing than we've got a famine, we've got a militaristic ancient Rome thing, we've got Black Plague in I was wrong about the name, by the way. It wasn't Cassar, it was Kaffa. Yeah. So Black Plague in Kaffa, where they threw the bodies over. We've got Lex Deorum cult, and then we've got a therapist helping people by going into their dreams. So we've got horrible, 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 nice thing.
Yeah. Like,
How funny is it?
You can make
that the what?
Like, it's not it's morally questionable going into someone's dreams.
It is morally questionable. So yeah, we could have like the
Well,
The
Inception.
moral.
great, but I mean, it's like you basically brainwashed the man to feeling good.
Well, with the therapist one, what you could do is that he set himself up like a personal standard. Like when I go into the dream world, I'm only observing, so I can like get deeper into their psyche to help them. And he has a strict rule: I do not interfere. I don't talk to them. I don't introduce themselves. I disguise myself in the dream world so they don't know who I am. I'm just there to observe. But when he gets there for a certain patient, he sees something that he just can't like. He can't help but intervene, and that causes like a bunch of issues in the real world because he broke his own personal rule.
Hmm.
That way the conflict is actually like it's not like some sort of outward force affecting him, as he's caused the problem, which would give him more emotional pain, which would then make the story more not sympathetic, but people would be more connected to it.
I mean, what happens if you like dream in someone else's dream and then you meet them the first time in the real world? I mean, what kind of dynamic would that make?
That would be pretty interesting because people would go, "Wait, I thought you only existed in my dream. What? You're a real person? You've been invading my mind?"
Oh, wait a minute. Oh,
That would be like a
It's like a rom-com thing.
yeah.
We're not doing a rom
Like a
com.
love
I
story.
draw the line at rom
You're
com.
literally the man in my dreams.
Well, instead of doing a rom-com, we can do a rom-track, romantic tragedy.
How
Yeah.
about a romance with a comedian in it?
Oh, I was gonna say you could have the Ukrainian woman learn that the commissar has been thinking about her, and
Oh no! Oh no!
I mean, that could also be like a valid route to go down.
Oh, actually, like maybe like this comedian goes into other people's dreams for like joking, like jokes, but he sees like their worst nightmares. And then he like, haha. So I had this dream once where like I don't know, my grandma died. Funny. I don't know.
actually, now I've been thinking about it. There's been this reminds me of like so there's this phenomenon called this man. It was started by like this dude who was like, okay, I keep seeing this. There's like the whole bunch of people who keep seeing like this one dude in like their dreams, but nobody can ever like find him. I'll send a picture of him in there, and I thought that would kind of be interesting.
Herobrine or Slenderman? Okay, it's not Herobrine or
Not-
Slenderman.
you know what? We could have a story where someone keeps seeing someone in their dream, and everyone's like, "I don't know who this guy is," and it turns out it's Sigmund Freud.
That's actually. What if a dead person somehow found a way to cross to the living side of Ager Somniorum,
Oh, true.
and they start going
can they
to
do
people's
that?
dreams? Yeah, they can. They can. If you fall through the floor, you pop up on the
Why
other
does
side.
the man keep stealing all my cigars and sucking on them?
Someone keeps stealing all my cigars. That's Sigmund Freud stealing them because he can't find anyone.
I would say
Ignoring
one thing that might be interesting is to do like a crime short story where like a detective tries to solve a serial murder case and
Through
goes
the
into
dreams.
enters the dreams of the dead, for example, or tries to find the murderer and
He
then
beat me
wait
to it.
until he wakes up to see where he is.
See, I was gonna suggest something like Coco, where somebody, is able to see an old loved one that had died and reconnect with them. And then, in that movie, he solves a crime as well, right?
Yeah,
True.
I'm not familiar with the movie, but yeah, why
it's
not?
pretty good.
Senor de la Cruz. Yeah, that's a great movie.
So we could have a detective story, yeah. There is also something that that is a thing. That's not how you spell story.
It is now.
There is also a thing
Oh,
that's
guys, I just had another idea.
Yeah.
So what you do for the short stories, you put it as a woman in the Middle Ages, right? and she doesn't know she's accessing, Ager Somniorum. Ugh. But
Ager
she's able
Somniorum.
to. Yeah, so she's in these dreams, and um, she's able to essentially solve, problems in murders or crimes within the, her village or town or whatever. And eventually, the townspeople, you can have it end in a tragedy where she's able to help a whole bunch of people's lives, and then they burn her at the stake for being a witch. There you go.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Oh,
We're about half an hour in now. I think we should like try to decide on one route to go with, and
Yeah,
like in the next
that's
5
fair.
minutes maybe.
One
Because
thing
we
I
have
wanted
quite
to
a bit.
explain, though, there was a little bit I wanted to explain about the dynamics of Ager Somniorum that I didn't actually mention before. Is if you stay in Ager Somniorum for too long, your body in the real world, as in if you become too connected to it, start believing that that is the real world instead of the real world, your body will actually start dissolving in the real world and dissolve into Ager Somniorum, and you will be trapped there.
So what happens if
Wait,
someone
you
finds
think
my
so?
body in the real world half dissolved?
Yeah, that's.
So you start becoming more transparent
Ah.
Oh.
until you become completely invisible because you have completely dissolved into Ager Somniorum.
And
I think that might be
that's what
happening to
people
me because
can
people
do.
tell me I'm an open book.
what if you just like this process starts, but then you snap back? Do you just get instantly visible again, or
So
do you keep
that's
some of
another
that?
thing. That's another thing. As you start to come back from that, if someone pulls you back, what happens is you can actually accidentally open kind of a breach into Ager Somniorum and pull things through from dreams into the real world.
Oh.
So if I'm out and about and someone starts accosting people with a gun, I can meditate, boom, go into Ager Somnorium, pull out a grenade launcher, come back to the real world, and boom, they're gone.
I'm not sure
Technically,
that's that
yes.
easy.
I can use it as a
But-
weapon locker, right?
I mean, you could, yes, you could, but you would also have to have partially dissolved into Ager Somniorum beforehand.
I
And
think
it
there's, like-
mostly happens by accident, so it would take a very long time for someone to actually be able to control that.
Well,
So
if
we
I'm
could-
already half visible, that's basically just camo. Sorry,
Basically
I'm
just-
derailing this. I need to stop. I apologize.
So we could
How do
have
you
someone
know? Never mind.
we could have someone learning how to control pulling things out of Ager Somniorum.
that can go back to the cult like story, like this.
This
Oh,
could
yeah.
basically go back to any
Yeah.
story.
They can control it, so maybe they use it in the real world, and I don't know.
Ooh, maybe the cult leader can do this.
I think it's
Yeah.
interesting, but I think it's
Because he would
also
be,
going to
like, the most
derail a
attuned.
lot.
Well, if the cult leader can take things out of the world of dreams and bring it into the real world, that's like him doing false miracles and claiming he's Jesus Christ, being like, "Look, I can do this, and I can multiply the fish by like taking the fish and then pulling more fish out of Ager Somnorium."
Oh,
I don't know. I
whatever
would say
it's
for a
called.
lot of people,
And
it
he
would
could
look
be like
maybe
he
he
could be like a false
pulls,
Christ.
maybe he pulls like something that you had a nightmare about out of the dream, and then he like shows
Oh.
you in the real world.
Yeah, because he's got his cronies exploring the dreams, observing everyone to make sure they're all staying in line, so that they can go back to him and inform on him. It's like dreaming cult Stasi.
Yeah,
Okay, but why wouldn't that cult like try to take over the world then?
I
Well,
Or
the
is it-
things that you pull out of dreams don't stay out permanently.
Oh, okay.
They
I mean,
don't
if you
stay out
pull out a
vague.
nuke and just go about, like, they would probably still like
I-
mess up a lot of people's day.
That
Right.
would, yeah. But just remember, would be very, very difficult to control. And there's always a chance of going into Ager Somniorum when you're trying to pull something out and accidentally thinking that that's the real world and ending up dissolving in. So there's always that risk. But if you're just sleeping and dreaming, that's not a risk.
Yeah, Dalek, would you mind like writing all the options down into the voice chat, and then we can like, I don't know, vote on it, I guess. Maybe like
We have 11 options. We have 11
many.
options.
Yeah, delete
yeah,
the picture.
we've came up with quite a bunch.
We
Yeah.
have. Really have. So what we got? We've got 1930s Ukrainian woman, and finally a cult leader false god narrative. So this is kind of separate from Lex Deorum, although it could also be the same. There we go.
Damn, that's a lot.
So I'm going to edit that and put emojis next to each one.
How do we do it? Does everyone get like one vote? Does everyone get?
Let's say
3?
everyone gets 3.
Yeah, I think 3 is a good number.
We can roll a die. I mean, D12. Can.
We could. So yeah, they became more nonsensical as I went on, to be honest. Okay, they're all in there now.
I can see a bruh in there.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that. I did not intend to do that.
Okay, so everyone gets three votes then.
Yeah, everyone gets 3. So I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
So 3 votes each.
Oh, okay, we're voting now. Say, I just got back in, so.
Yeah, everyone.
Are we
gets
voting
3.
in the text line?
Yeah, in voice chat with the emojis.
Okay, so we get up to like 3 each, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we should have like 24 in total at the end. Or, well, not more than that.
And if we get a tie, I can just roll a die. I've got a bag of 150 dice here, so. You know what? I'll pour all the dice out.
I'm sorry if I like missed it, because I'm kind of tired right now. But what is the Lex Deorum cult exactly offering?
So basically, they can control. They have the ability, or they've learned the ability to control people's dreams,
Right.
and also possibly the ability to draw things into the real world temporarily from Ager Somniorum.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one selling point for new cultists to that is probably that they can pry on people who have problems going to sleep or
Oh
having
yeah, because they
nightmares.
can like kind of spy on other people
Yeah,
Also,
they,
through their dreams.
I mean, if we pick the cultists, like the leader, maybe the reason why he doesn't like take over the world or something like that is because every time he goes to sleep, well, he needs to keep everyone in the cult's dreams organized, because if they sleep up on like making them sure they're not dreaming about hating them or like doubting, then they will leave the cult. So he can't sleep. He's like he always has like this I don't know, like visions of other people. So
So basically, he's just trying to control everything, and because he's trying to control everything, it doesn't leave him enough time to plan
yeah,
taking over the world.
and it can be like you can show the point of view of like an average member, and then you like see what is to be the leader. And
I mean, to be fair, it doesn't
really-
have to be like a top priority for any cult leader to take over the world. Like if you're your average cult leader and you just want to live a decent life, like a few followers would probably be enough. And if you can keep control over them, then I don't know. We don't have to like try
Go
and
in
fix that.
Well, the thing is, you
Imaginary
don't
problem.
need to violently take over the world in that case. You could just do it by suggestion.
Yeah.
You could just kind of suggest to world leaders, you know what, you should probably do this. You don't even have to make it look like you're preventing democracy from prevailing. You can just kind of go, you can just influence people and go, you know what, you should vote for this person.
The more I think about it, the more I see like the similarities between this and like 1984, 83, like
84.
the Big Brother
Yeah.
thing.
1984.
84.
So it's 19.
Oh,
Right.
maybe this cult could be more like a secret society as well. Like if it tries
Yeah,
to
I
influence.
would think it would be secret. Yeah,
Yeah. Then
Lex
Another
Deorum.
thing you can do. Another thing you can do with a cult leader is that when he appears to political leaders, he appears in the form of a lizard, which is where the lizard people conspiracy comes from.
That's what
Oh, that
I get it.
could be. I mean, we could do
maybe.
He just shows up as an Argonian.
that. Although to be fair, I mean, do we want to go with the cult or more with the secret society plotline? Because they have like two, I would say, distinct routes to go
I mean,
down.
what we have here is a name. We have the name Lex Deorum.
You know what? Let's roll a die for it. I need to actually clear the dice box of dice first. It's a lot.
Roll all of them.
All of them.
Instead of-
If it's odd, then the first one.
Okay, instead of appearing as just a normal Argonian, he should appear as the lusty Argonian maid.
Oh no.
Are we
And
going
they seduce the politicians to their bidding.
Anyway,
Well-
so we have two options. We have kind of cult or secret society. So we can roll a die for that. Yes, I do indeed have a personalized dice box.
Amazing.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
I don't.
I don't.
Me neither.
Never thought of getting one.
Okay, so which die? Which one?
The
Purple and gold or black and red?
purple and gold.
Use a
Purple and
two-sided
gold.
one.
I don't have a two-sided.
You gotta have a coin.
coin.
Gold coin.
Yes.
Two-sided die.
That
Come
didn't
on.
take long.
Anyway, we can just go 1 to 10. So let's say numbers 1 to 10 is the cult. Numbers 11 through 20 is secret society.
Ready.
Alright.
True.
That what the hell is that?
Okay, we don't do any of it.
That was not meant to
Darn it,
happen.
we
I
failed.
will find
Yes,
out.
we don't.
Somehow that ended up on the opposite side of the desk to the side it came off on.
Amazing.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, what did we say? 1 to 10 is cults, 11 to 20 secret society. That is a 2.
That's cult.
That is a
Booyah!
cult.
I love cult.
Cold 1911.
Man, I love cultists. Don't you love like manipulating people for money and fame and everything? Really?
I mean, to be fair, like if their selling point is we can make sure that your dreams are nice, they can do that. So
Yeah.
We can. We cannot.
That's a pretty good selling point.
yeah.
Like no one in our world can offer that.
Boom.
No one in our
Now, that could be
They,
used for
they,
like.
they don't even have to wish you sweet dreams when you go to bed. They know you're gonna have them.
Yeah,
You're saying, yes, we will make your dreams sweet. Yeah.
Or salty. Depends on what you like.
Salty dreams. They just throw you into the ocean.
Or if you're some sort of religious extremist and you're a flagellant, you could like ask them, "Hey, can you put me in one of Dante's circles of hell, please?"
Yes.
I'd like the one where I'm frozen under ice, please.
Oof.
I like the
Specifically
one
that one.
rolling boulders.
I guess one question we will have to figure out though is, setting-wise, how much can you influence someone else's dream if this person is also aware of them dreaming? Like,
Well, if it's your own dream, you have more control than another person.
okay, so it kind
Your
of
imagination
bangs...
is the most powerful.
Yeah, okay. So the dreamer has the top priority in what's going down in the dream then.
Yeah.
If they
But
know it.
a particularly imaginative person, as in they have a powerful imagination, they can imagine things in vivid detail, could reasonably overpower a person in their own dream.
Yeah, sure.
So we have Lexdeorum. It is a cult. And their selling point is that they can make you have good dreams.
So I guess then for the short story, the question is gonna be, who in the cult do we, like, whose perspective do we take? Or do we, like, go for a third person narrator? And but I guess then we still need to decide on who are we following.
I kind of like the idea that was suggested first. I don't remember who suggested it, of someone who's kind of new to the cult, but not so new that they don't know what's going on, and they're kind of having doubts about how much they really care about the cult.
That was me.
Well, props to you, I guess.
Oh,
whoever you is.
So I have a question about the cult, and that is that if they are giving you sweet dreams in exchange for money or something else.
Money, power.
So I suppose my question is, if that's what they're doing, why is it a cult and not some sort of business venture? Or is it a business venture just disguised as a cult?
I mean, arguably every cult is a business venture disguised as a...
I think it's like, if you look it from the outside, it kind of looks like they're like drug dealers. Like, you're gonna have good dreams. Trust us.
It kind of does look like that. Something I'd like to point out is that, because I have more of a scientific background than anyone else here, is that whenever you're messing with things to do with the brain, people start running away. People start going, we don't want you to do that, and they start trying to stop you the moment you start trying to do something to do with people's brains. So,
well, it's like from inception, whenever you start manipulating the dream world too much, all the subconscious peoples in the world start to get mad at you because they know something's wrong.
Yeah.
So people in this dream world, the more you mess with their dreams, perhaps they can, the more altered it is. The more altered it is, the more it doesn't feel right. And so you need the cult-like aspect to like reinforce. No, this isn't unusual. This is good. Because otherwise, all the alterations to their dream is making them begin to give them sort of in-dream anxiety. And so you have to have the cult-like aspect to reassure people, to gaslight them enough to be that.
So as they alter, it becomes unnerving.
Yeah, and that's my daughter saying good morning.
Well,
good morning. Yeah.
Have a beautiful day.
I would say good morning, but I'm very spiteful because it's 10 p.m. here.
It has literally just become morning for me. So.
It will be morning in 2 hours. Anyway, so as they alter, it becomes unnerving, so the cult aspect keeps people in.
Yeah, so you could have had it so that when they first tried it you could have had like a partnership. You have two people go in, one person's like, okay, we're going to try this as a business venture, and then it doesn't quite work out because people there's something wrong. They just know something's wrong, and so it's actually not giving them good dreams. It's making them wake up from a good dream and feeling anxious. So the feelings are following them into the real world. They're like, well, this isn't working. And so the other partner says, okay, well, why don't we build something around it? And as they start building it, it starts feeling cold to the first guy. The first guy's like, look, I don't want to make the cult. I'm out. So he ditches. He ditches, and the second guy's like, I'm going to keep going with this cult. And now that I don't have to worry about a partner, I can do whatever I want. So you could actually have the first guy that ditched because he didn't want to make a cult somehow relevant to the story in some way later on.
Maybe
Well,
like nightmares, like very like the people that he like because he left the cult, he's having like even worse nightmares because he doesn't have the insurance that the cult like helped him with.
Oh,
Help in
I
quotes.
think one important question that we have to figure out is, when does that cult take place? Does it take place in the future from our point now, or is it taking place in, I don't know, 19th century France?
Ooh.
Well, first of all, it's not going to take place in France because these people don't surrender that easily.
Okay.
Je m'appelle Baguette, vive la 7.
You do it in the United States in the 1980s when cults were all the rage.
Yeah, we could do it like the same era as like Charles Manson.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Have it like in some, like the guys from some rural Texas town, which is like a breeding ground for cults for some reason. Don't ask me why.
Why?
Or something to that effect. Like cults are always like. There's no cults. There's no cults in Chicago. The cults are in some rural place. Yes, I'll get you some water, babe.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be one cult at least in Chicago, like maybe with 4 people.
So something I think that could be interesting could be that if they don't like someone, or if someone starts disagreeing with them, they might say, we're going to reward you in your dreams this time. And instead of rewarding them, they actually convince them within the dream that the dream is real life. So they actually pull them out of their dream and into Ager Somniorum and convince them that Ager Somniorum is real, to have them just melt out of the real world. Just dissolve them into Ager Somniorum out of the real world.
The perspective of like the narrator is like someone who is new, and like the cult is trying to do their stuff, but the guys that they dissolved are coming to stop them, and it's like this war that he didn't like even knew about starting in his dream. Maybe I don't know, that could be interesting.
Oh yeah, that could be interesting, true.
You can have the breaking point for the main character be that he's in the cult, and now that he's past the introduction, they're starting to integrate him into the mission of the cult, and they send him on, I don't want to call it a mission because it's not a military, but they send him on an assignment with other people so he can like observe and watch. But the assignment he goes on is them just causing mischief with the man who left the cult at the beginning, like when there was a partnership leading the show, because the leader that still remains, the cult leader, is spiteful that his friend left, and so he's trying to cause him mischief. And this is for the main character. This is like the point where he just goes, wait, hold on. I thought we were supposed to be giving people like sweet dreams. I thought our mission was this positive thing, and that's kind of like the break point at the beginning of the story. That's kind of like the call to action for him. That I thought we were a nice cult. I thought we were a nice organization helping people, but we're just here causing spite to this person that really hasn't done anything bad to us.
I think one thing that I have some quarrels with is that how probable is it for 2 people to like get the key to Ager Somniorum? And
I mean, you have to have more than one, because because if you send only one, well, he can do whatever. But if you send 2, they're going to snitch on each other.
Yeah, but we kind of have established that it's relatively hard to like get into that sphere, and then the 2 people
it's
would
quite
have,
hard.
Yeah, they would
It
have
is
to
very
find each
difficult
other's
to
world.
escape your dream and end up in Ager Somniorum.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be like for the call to action would be more probable for these dissolved enemies to contact someone within the cult, trying to dissolve the cult basically from within.
So you're saying there's a counter cult?
Well, not really a counter cult, more like
More like
those who have been wronged or like basically disposed of by the cult leader. I mean, they're dead, but they can still influence or go into other people's
Technically, they're
dreams.
not dead. Technically, they
Oh.
are not dead.
Okay, but they can't go back to real life.
If you
or can
dissolve
they?
into Ager Somniorum, you're not actually dead. You're still alive, so you still can be harmed within Ager Somniorum. And so you will eventually die of old age or something. You don't need to eat or drink in there, but you will still age.
Okay, but if you dissolve into Ager Somnorium,
You are in the real world. You're basically dead. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my point.
From the perspective of the real world, yeah,
Yeah.
you're dead.
And you can't go back then once you're completely dissolved.
No, you can't go back.
Okay.
Here's a question: how if you're in the dream, the land of the dream, okay, how exactly do you come back? Is it like a transfer, like you're going through a portal, or what? How exactly does it work?
You go back into your own dream and you wake up.
Yeah, but like
Oh.
physically with quotes, how does it
So
work?
So first of all, you have to be to actually be able to wake up. You have to be in your own dream.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be in someone else's dream and wake up. Although time passes differently, so technically you could be in Ager Somniorum for 20 years and only 8 hours have passed.
Okay.
Could you theoretically hijack someone else's dream or like
Until someone else.
or like finish this person's dream so they can't go back?
So you mean kind of
Trap them in there.
make it so the person kind of thinks that they're waking up, but they're actually not, and so they're actually outside of their own dream, and so their own dream actually fractures apart, so it's impossible to go back into it.
Yeah, basically. I'm not sure if that would be a good idea to allow that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
balancing-wise.
think that's a good idea either. Really,
Yeah.
I think that's
Then that's not allowed. Okay.
kind of overpowered.
Kind of.
Kind of
Okay.
not interesting enough to be
Yeah.
a mechanic.
It's a good idea that doesn't fit in the story.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of decided that it'd be kind of focused around a main character recognizing that something is just really off about this cult, and they're being communicated with by these enemies of the cult who have been dissolved into Ager Somniorum.
Yes.
I mean, we
Say
could
the part where something feels off about this cult again, but slowly. That was a joke. Anyway, let's continue on. Something about this cult that doesn't
Something
feel
feels off about this cult.
Okay.
It's specifically a cult. I wonder why there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
So we want
Oh no, go ahead.
a main character recognizing that something's wrong, and the dissolved enemies communicating with him to assist him in recognizing that.
Oh, 1980s US. We should probably write that down as well for the time frame in which this short story takes place. Because we're kind of.
I'm going to put a question mark next to that one, though.
Yeah, sure. But just because
we
we
should
didn't
have
have anything else.
someone mention Scientology sometime in this story because L. Ron Hubbard is still
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend who was in a Scientology circle, and he got out eventually, and that's why I thought about this cult who goes into someone else's dreams.
So So it's
So,
kind of mandatory to mention Scientology at this because okay. I guess we kind of have to go into like figuring out who our main character is gonna be, like personality-wise. Then
So they would have to be a loner. They would have to be kind of very just alone before they join the cult. So
It would
someone who
help
didn't
if they
have
were
friends.
young and naive.
I don't think so. I don't think so necessarily.
So generally, cults prey on people who feel isolated.
True.
That's who cults prey on. Cults prey on people who feel isolated. So I guess we don't need someone who's a loner. We just need someone who feels isolated.
Yeah.
Right, because the whole point of the cult is like they're offering something that they
Actually-
can't get otherwise.
actually, we don't need them to feel alone. We need them to be not creative, because if they're not creative, they can't control the dreams. So it's easier to influence them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think
So
that they necessarily have to be like non-creative.
They just
or
have to
something.
not be a lucid dreamer.
Yeah.
Because if you're not a lucid dreamer, then you don't control your own dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And it would also be useful if they were young, so they could be also naive and inexperienced. So say they're like a young adult, like
25.
anywhere from 18 to 24 would I would think could go in that category.
Well, the main character of the novel is going to be 23, so it could be a good parallel to that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Although she's a 23-year-old with a PhD, so just intentionally hyper intelligent and hyper logical with zero imagination. That's the main character of the novel. But I also gave her an unusual name just to juxtapose that, because her full name is Ashara Aamid. Just a really weird, uncommon name for a very logical and hating of imagination person. That was the worst sentence I've ever said.
We got it.
Yeah.
So
I don't. Can you say
let's
it
name
again?
him. Let's name him Frank Johnson. If she's gonna have a weird name or an odd name or a unique name, let's give him Frank Johnson.
Or John Smith.
John, yeah.
Could also be
something
John
very
Smith.
plain.
I wouldn't do John Smith, but you could do you could do John Johnson,
Mark Miller.
Michael
Hey,
Michelson.
Michael Michelson.
Mark Miller owns a bunch of stuff here in Utah.
Well, given that Johnson is another word for a toilet in Australia, slang for a toilet in Australia, let's avoid Johnson.
Johnson.
Oh yeah, that's true. John's
Yeah, but
Johnson.
Johnson is also
John
slang for some
Jacob.
other things that I'm not going to say over chat.
Nah,
We know what those things are. That was just an awkward silence there. I'm not going to say over chat, just 5 seconds of silence.
I can cut that out.
So let's name him the Johnson.
he's like the chat.
The Johnson.
Chad Hammercock.
The Johnson. The Johnson is just the new version of the Chad.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the Chad.
Chad Johnson.
Oh, I mean,
Oh, and name him Virgil.
are we
His name
going?
is Virgil.
Are
Virgil
we?
Chad Johnson.
Are we going with 1980s USA then? Because we're kind of focusing around like English-sounding names.
I
Why
mean,
can't we just have like a regular
if you want
name
motion,
like
it can work.
Mark?
I don't know. Sounds a lot more appropriate for like.
What
John.
sounds a lot more appropriate?
I mean, we can use like more European or Middle Eastern or I don't know, different place, but I think it's more. Easy.
I mean, if the person is a foreigner wherever they are,
It will be
if the
easier to pick like USA in the 1980s. It's very. It is easier to like compare in our mind.
Gold Rush Australia would also work.
Mm.
So Gold Rush Australia would also work because people were brought into Australia kind of in the Gold Rush because they were going, oh, I have no prospects here in England, so I'm going to go to Australia for the Gold Rush. So Gold Rush Australia would also be a possible setting.
Okay, but we also need a setting in which like cults aren't like massively looked down upon. So I would say it probably has to be after World War II, I would assume.
You realize that Gold Rush Australia was mostly criminals, right? I don't think they're going to care.
Hmm.
Okay,
but
so if you want to,
would that be the
if you
people
wanna
who go
do-
into the cult? Maybe.
you could do it 1980s, and if you want to do it to someone that's like a newcomer to like increase your insecurity, you could make them say their parents are immigrants from Costa Rica to the United States. They're in Texas, but because they were raised in America,
Costa Rica or Puerto Rico? Which one? Because Puerto Rico seems more reasonable.
some random Central American country, and make it so that since their parents were raised in this other country, they feel culturally isolated from their own parents, which would increase their loneliness, which would then attract them to the cult more.
That sounds
So yeah,
reasonable.
so they were kind of born in a foreign country, but they were brought up in the country that they are currently in.
Yeah, so if they take for example, they're in 1980s America. Their parents are immigrants from Mexico. Their parents are still very Mexican in their culture, but this person was raised in America, in American schools with American friends, and so they feel kind of like culturally isolated from their parents because their parents are like, oh wow, they still do that thing, or their parents, I don't know. I've met people who are like this. So I'm just saying you could do something so you could culturally isolate them from the people that should be close to them to increase their loneliness and isolation that would then attract them more to the cult.
So they could also be from Vietnam as well. So 1980s
Yeah, they could
America,
be from
that's...
anywhere.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking because Vietnam War, they would feel even more isolated.
True.
Oh yeah, that's true, and it would coincide with the 1980s because if their parents fled in like the early 70s, and this is the late 80s, they're now a young adult. They were born in Vietnam. They don't remember. They love eating American food, but it's kind of weird because when they go back home, all their parents want to do is eat Vietnamese food, and they're just like, "Oh, come on, mom and dad, why can't you have this hamburger?" Just something small like that.
That's kind of what I was thinking with that, yeah. So I was thinking Vietnamese kind of isolates them more and gives more of a historical context than just random Central American country.
I'd be up for that.
To anyone from Central America, I apologize for calling you random.
I do not.
Because we are, like, kind of going through possibilities randomly. Okay, male or female then?
I'm thinking male simply because the main character of the story is female.
That's what I was thinking as well.
But
diversity is our strength.
I'm not gonna comment on that.
I'm just gonna put a question mark next to male.
Yeah, because I think female could maybe work even better. But yeah, I agree that because of like the novel character is gonna be female, that maybe male would make a good counterpoint.
So question mark next to male because he's questioning? Oh, sorry, never mind. Sorry, I don't mean to derail you.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to like figure out before we get into writing?
Now we're also going, he's 23 years old. Just because the main character of the novel is also 23, and I just feel like that's a good point to make. Just a good point of comparison. They're both the same age. Same age, different time periods.
Any other input from anyone, or?
If his parents are refugees from Vietnam, that could also add to why he wants his dreams to be more positive. Is because perhaps his parents, growing up, they say, well, this is why we moved to America. This is why we're so glad we're here, because back in Vietnam, and then they could name off all the
talking about the war. Always talking about the war, yeah.
Maybe like.
So I'm going to be
when
I'm
they
going to be really okay. Go.
yeah, maybe if he came to the US with like, I don't know, when he was 4 or 5 or something like that, he would probably still have like a subconscious understanding of what happened there, and like gunshots and bombs maybe. So I'm not sure if it totally makes sense from the time period, but that could explain why he has bad dreams. Or like nightmares even.
So I'm going to be really stereotypical here and say that his surname can be Newen.
It gotta be. I think like 80 or 70%. So.
Did I spell that correctly though?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of Newens in Australia, like so many.
So.
Now, what's his first name?
Yeah.
His or her. It could be a he, it could be a she. We don't know.
Since he was born in Vietnam, you would have like a Vietnamese first name too.
That seems reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, especially if he was born there, that's pretty safe to assume. If he was born
He
in the
could-
US,
he could
maybe
also-
not, but...
This is common with non-European cultures, where when they move to the United States, oftentimes they'll Americanize their name. So say their name like they go by Daniel because their Vietnamese name sounds close to it or something like that.
Right. They'll often have like for my family at least, we have an American name and a Korean name, and we mostly use our Korean names when we're talking to each other. I don't have a Korean name because they never gave one to me. I think that's usually how it goes.
So I'm going to say something that might sound a little bit racist, but I know a guy called Chin Win, and he actually goes by Chicken Wing in Australia. So his actual Asian name is Chin Win, but he tells everyone to call him Chicken Wing. It's very weird.
Well, that guy is the boss.
It's kind of weird, but I mean,
can
if he's
support a
fine
guy.
with it...
I can support Chicken Wing.
But anyway, we need a first name.
I guess I'm just gonna
Chicken
look up
nugget.
some Vietnamese first names, something like that.
Oh, what's his surname again?
Newen.
No.
It's right here. It's here.
I'm also not sure how to pronounce it. Oh wait, you know what? I'm just gonna put the link into the voice
What is
text
this
channel.
website? Why does it say that Thai is a Vietnamese first name?
Okay, here we go.
Huh.
Maybe we can find something there.
Okay, I can do this.
Oh, yeah. I think Cha might, or C-A, maybe it's pronounced Ka, who knows, could be a good one, because it's... Oh, well, does he have siblings? Or she? I mean...
He, she, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know completely yet, so... If he or she is the firstborn, then I guess C-A would make sense.
Then that would make sense, yeah.
But... Would it make
Let's
sense?
not go with Dan. Let's avoid Dan. Let's avoid something that means famous and prestigious.
How about this? His first name in Vietnamese is Hung, and he goes by Hank.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'll be advocate for.
Where is that on the list? I see no male names of Hung.
Yeah.
It's in the H's.
I'm in the H's.
Yeah, it's a female name.
That's a
though.
female name. A female going by Hank. Tom Hanks is having an identity crisis right now. Just listening to us. He's not listening to us, but let's pretend he is.
I'm pretty sure it will be.
He will be. Of course he will.
Yeah.
I mean, he's currently in Queensland filming a movie. I mean, what else does he have to do? He's in Queensland.
Could just listen to a podcast of people rambling about a short story they try to make up. I guess Kim is
I mean,
a
it could be hung and female, and they could go by Hannah.
Yeah.
So that kind of fits in the same way there.
I guess we could also, like, the name Tongue would mean victorious. So, like, kind of foreshadowing that in the end he's gonna be victorious and either breaking off from right at the bottom.
Ah, yeah, Tongue.
Yeah. Could be some decent foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oh. I like that, yeah. Tongue Nguyen. Now, will he or will he not have an anglicized name, is the question.
I don't think that Tongue is...
I mean, it's not difficult. It's not difficult to say at all.
Yeah. So... wouldn't necessarily have to have an anglicized name, in my opinion. Is everyone okay with the name, though? Or, like, there's still a lot of other names, so...
Yeah, there are a lot of other names, yeah. But let's just go with that for the time being and see if there's any others we might go with.
Or, well, to be fair, I, like, kind of presumed that he's gonna be able to, like, overthrow or leave the cult, like... Is that the direction
I would
we're going
assume
with?
so, yeah.
Okay.
Why are there pound symbols in some of these names? Are they...
Maybe... I don't know.
Did the British did the British actually invade their names? Did they get so imperialist that they started invading language?
True pound UC. It's probably just a symbol that doesn't have like... Oh wait, no, the Vietnamese are using the same kind of alphabet, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, this would be a phonetic representation of it. I say phonetic. I term phonetic loosely because we know that LL in the phonetic English version of Welsh is.
Okay.
So, yeah, the British were dumb with translating languages sometimes. Basically, with Welsh and Irish, sometimes there was a letter that just looked like an English letter, and so they went, it's probably just the English letter. But in the case of LL, it's pronounced. Ugh. You're kind of just going, really? You put LL for that? But yeah. Just my tangent on British people being bad at translating foreign languages. That was a long silence. Why are we all so silent all of a sudden?
I have no clue. I just got back.
Oh,
I'm eating right now, so I can't really talk.
Why is everyone muted? Was this Crusader? Is he just playing a prank on us?
No, I don't think.
Miron,
Miron,
what did you do?
Because I'm actually eating right now, so I have to mute myself.
All I know is when I got back on, it asked me if I wanted to do an overlay, but I don't think that would affect everyone else.
All I can say is those British translators probably came from the dump because those translations were rubbish.
Oof.
So we could say that oh wow, how did I miss that? There is a hung that's male. Apparently I'm blind.
Oof.
Yeah, I've just gone blind throughout the process of this.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
That sounds
there
like
are
something that
two.
might happen in Ager Somniorum. Or Ager Sagittarius, whatever it's called.
Ager Somniorum. So anyway, so this is gonna. I did not mean to do that. So either Tang Nguyen or Hang Nguyen. One's male, one's female. Tang and Hang. And Hang could
I
either go
have a
by
preference for whoever for the male in this case.
and if they were female, they could either go by Hannah or Hana. Probably not Hana because Hana is a Japanese name, so that would be a bit weird. I anglicized my name to a Japanese name.
You can go with okay. If it was instead of Hana, you could go with Hannah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said initially.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Then I said Hana, and I was going, no, that's Japanese. That would be very weird. I intentionally anglicized my name, but I went with the Japanese name. So yeah, let's go with.
For a little bit. Where are we at now? Besides picking names.
I think we've picked the name now. It's Tang Nguyen.
Awesome. All right. So what's next?
What's next is we need to actually lay out the plot.
Okay. So what will be the inciting incident?
Inciting incident, I think. So he's already in the cult here. He's already in the cult. I think we've established that.
Yeah, he's in the cult. That's the status quo. Then we need some sort of inciting incident, something that makes him realize that something's not right.
I think maybe he's approached by one of the enemies in one of his dreams, or he sees them from afar. Either that, or someone just disappears. Someone who was vocal against the cult just suddenly disappears, and they don't hear from them one day.
Okay.
Just first day they're there, next day they're just gone.
No, this is a short story, which means everything has to happen on kind of an accelerated.
That's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point.
Time scale. So whatever the inciting incident is, because a lot of stories you'll have like a small inciting incident, and you'll have a couple building incidents. We need something that's. It doesn't have to be huge, but it's got to be.
It needs
big
to be
enough.
Bam.
Yeah, they need to be on the quest by like page 4 or something like that.
Yeah. Or if it's a 500-word short story, then they need to be on the quest by paragraph 1.
Yes. Yeah, so that really leads me to the next question: is how long do you want the short story to be?
I would think probably less than 5,000 words.
Okay, so about 5,000 words is each page is 250 words.
Yeah, so it's 20 pages.
5,000 is what? 15 pages? 20 pages?
Yeah. So
that's great because you can break it up in pieces. So you can go with the first the first 2 pages of the status quo, by page at the latest by page 5, you have some sort of inciting incident. Now we can have several at once. So you had said, hold on just a moment.
So possibly 20 pages, but also possibly 2 pages if I don't have time. Or if any of us don't have time. Anyone can write a short story on this if they want to.
I might end up doing the witch one all by myself anyway.
Can I have TLDR, please?
Okay, so this is I'm back. So this is my idea, and that is that he's with the cult, studying the status quo, showing what they do at the very beginning. So he's on some sort of assignment with some more senior members to set the status quo. So you see what they do, what their purpose is, and then at the end of the assignment, they do something that he finds questionable, and he doesn't like it, and that's what kind of sets him off. He's like, wait, hold on. I've been with this cult for, this amount of time, and I believed in our mission, and now that I'm participating in the mission, I see kind of some of the some of the deeper stuff, and I don't like it. And part of it could be that they do something, malintended towards one of the people that opposes the cult. It could be that they sabotage someone that used to be part of the cult, or extorting from someone. Who knows? It's just something that he finds distasteful that they do, and that kind of sets him like, wait, hold on. This kind of goes against what I thought this thing was about.
So then I think the night immediately after that, his dreams reflect those feelings.
Yes, they'd have to. Which would also probably set off the cult, because they would probably notice, because they're veterans. They know what the signs are. They know what things are supposed to look like. And so they're like, hold on, we know that someone in the cult is now having these thoughts, but they're not quite sure who it is. So those are my beginning thoughts for the status quo and the inciting.
So I'm thinking then,
adventure, if you will.
I'm thinking then immediately after that night, then the cult leaders give a lecture on loyalty or something like that.
Yeah,
because of what they know.
Yeah, and that kind of like makes him like paranoid. Like, oh my goodness, do they know it's me? Perhaps they don't know it's him. They just know that someone in the cult has begun questioning, whereas just the day before they had identified anyone that was questioning. And now there's an unknown, and they don't know who it is. If you could do something like that, it'd be interesting. Does he know any of the cultists in the real world, in the waking world?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe he knows them, but he doesn't know that he knows them.
Okay. Okay, so it's what's it called? When you divide everyone up so no one can expose each other because nobody knows. There's a word for that.
Compartmentalization?
Compartmentalization, yeah, sorry, I pulled a Biden again. I can't remember these words. Yeah, so it can be compartmentalized so that it protects everyone, so that if one person's exposed, they can't expose anyone else. So he doesn't have any avenue to resolve this in the waking world. He can only resolve it in his dreams in Ager Somniorum.
Compartmentalized 1 L or 2 Ls?
I think 1. But I'm not a native speaker, so I'm gonna pass that ball to anyone else.
What comes after inciting incident? There's got to be some sort of pinch. So the pinch could be that he's at a cult meeting in the dream world, and they mention something on loyalty. He gives some sort of reaction that kind of lets another cultist know, hey, I think this might be the guy, because he gives some sort of reaction.
So they would have to kind of be in Ager Somniorum when they're giving that lecture, if it's compartmentalized like that. So,
so that way
maybe
in the real world, they never beat anyone.
Yeah. So maybe his surroundings react to his emotions during the lecture. And that's what tips someone else off. So just a slight reaction.
One idea or like thought I just had is, couldn't it also be that the cult tries to influence people in their dreams to join them? And that's how they recruit?
Yes. Yeah.
I just got back. Maybe someone else has already mentioned that, so... Alright, we're kind of getting close to the 2-hour mark, and the other session is like planned to start in like 15 minutes, so...
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you want to go the full length and then right into the next session, or...
I think what I'll do now, I think we can probably wrap up now, and I will send the SVG file of this whiteboard to the entire group chat. Oh, the Vietnamese baby name is still there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I gotta peace out and go to work, so...
Alright.
What's up?
Alright.
See you.
Yeah, take care. I guess we'll try to organize another session in a timely fashion and then get down to actually writing on it.
Also try to wake up in time for that one. That's important.
I'm gonna invade everyone's bedroom and knock them out of their sleep if they don't make it on time.
Look,
Don't
last
worry.
time Germans had advantages, never made a lot of jokes about that.
I had to make that joke, sorry.
Yeah.
Alright.
You're gonna come into our dreams and you're gonna be
But
like,
he's
Yes,
not yet.
exactly. I'm
Just
invading.
don't wake him up with the timer on the oven.
Alright.
And whiteboard uploading and uploaded. So it has all the ideas are on there as well. So if you want to take one of the other ideas, it's on there somewhere.
Alright, I guess you're gonna have the last word then, Dalek, and then I'm gonna stop the recording after it.
So I'm thinking that anyone who wants to write a short story based on any of these topics, I'll try to focus on the cult topic. Anyone who wants to write a short story can, and we can discuss any short stories that have been written in the next short story collaboration session, assuming that we get through the any other worlds that might want to collaborate on short stories as well.
right.
All
So I
right.
think that's the last word there. So you can probably stop that recording now so that you can go on to your own session.
Mm-hmm.